Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday.
Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Yep. It's a two-part parallel, kind of small, so we're going to read them both. Peter and John run to the tomb. First one is Luke chapter 24, verse 12. However, Peter jumped up and ran to the tomb to look. Stopping, he peered in and saw an empty linen wrappings. And then he went home again, wondering what had happened. From there we go to John chapter 20, starting at verse 3. Peter and the other disciples started out for the tomb. They were both running, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He stopped and looked in and saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he didn't go in. Then Peter arrived and went inside. He also noticed the linen wrappings lying there, while the cloth that had covered Jesus' head was folded up and lying apart from the other wrappings. Then the disciple who had reached the tomb first also went in, and he saw and believed. For until then they still hadn't understood the scriptures that said Jesus must rise from the dead. Then they went home. Now the commentary for Luke. From John 20, verse 3 and 4, we learn that another disciple ran to the tomb with Peter. That other disciple was most certainly John, the author of the fourth gospel. Now the commentary for John. The linen wrappings were left as if Jesus' body had simply vacated them. The cloth that covered Jesus' head was still rolled up in the shape of a head, and it was about the right distance from the wrappings that enveloped Jesus' body. A grave robber couldn't possibly have made off with Jesus' body and left the linens as if they were still wrapped around it. As further proof that the disciples did not fabricate this story, we find that Peter and John were surprised that Jesus was not in the tomb. When John saw the linen wrappings looking like an empty cocoon from which Jesus had emerged, he believed that Jesus had risen. It wasn't until after they had seen the empty tomb that they remembered what the scriptures and Jesus had said. He would die, but he would also rise again.
That rise again is the most important part.
Yep.
He beat death. Not even death can conquer the one and only true God.
That's true. And I guess, just the way this commentary, and I guess kind of goes with it's a little bit subtle in the Bible, but the commentator here made a good point of it being so the wrappings were just like Jesus, like the wrappings just fell through his body, because his body because now he's not able, he was always able, but now we're going to learn later that he just walks through walls and doors, and he just appears. So it's like he was risen, and he didn't get up while his linens were still on him and make a mess on the floor or nothing. It was just kind of like we see in the movie, he just vanished and everything fell off of him. So that's another proof that somebody just didn't, like you said, didn't just grab up the body and throw it over his shoulder and walk away with it, or disassemble his wrappings and leave it in a messy pile somewhere or anything like that. So
you gotta think too that the stone that was in front of the tomb was heavy, and it had guards guarding the stone, so there was no possible way anybody could have showed up to steal the body.
I think this happens in such a way, God planned all this in such a way so that people can't explain. You might be able to explain this but not that, or this and not that. It's one over another that you just can't. Okay, well, I can't explain it all, and nobody can, and that's because the truth of the matter is, he is risen. He is.
Yeah, it's a miracle, and it was all God done. It wasn't man manipulated or man mocked or copied or whatever the word is I'm hunting for. I can't think of it right now.
Okay. Hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.